Welcome, friends. This evening we are gathering in honor of and celebration of and in love for Pam Hillyer, also known as Lexa Rollins, which was the name that she chose for herself, and also for many of us known as Padme, that is a reference to the lotus in the center of the heart that is a symbol of compassion and perfection in each being. We'll begin the service with the invocation of Pure Murshid Hazrat Inayat Khan. It's in the chat window for you. If you're new to this prayer, you're welcome to read along. You can say it with us or just listen and see how it feels in your own being. Toward the One, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of Guidance. Amen. Amen. And we're going to sing because the way that many of us in this community know Lexa, Padme, Pam, was through singing prayers together. So we're going to start with some Arabic words. We'll say Bismillah, Irrahman, Irrahim. Bismillah means we begin in the remembrance of God, of the one all-pervading reality. Irrahman, Irrahim. These are two beautiful names of God that both mean mercy and compassion, that are loving kindness as the essence and the activity of the divine. And this particular melody is called the Heart Bismillah, and it is an indication of holding each other and being held in the loving atmosphere of God. So please feel welcome to sing along with me, but we'll keep everyone muted other than the people who are in the home with me right now. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So I invited each of you to bring a candle with you to light in honor of our friend Pam, Lexa, Padme. I think I'm going to keep using all three names this evening, as there are friends on here who knew her by each of these names. And for the altar this evening, we have a beautiful picture of our beloved friend, and also some flowers. There's an incense that we'll light a little bit later, and the candle that is already burning is representing the light of God, that is the source of all beings, the sustenance of all beings, and the goal of all souls. And I hope you have your candles ready. We're going to light this candle in honor of the light of the life that is and was and will be Pam Hillyer, Lexa Rollins, Padme. So taking the light from the light of God, in honor of our beloved friend, we kindle this light, symbolically representing her life on earth. We turn our loving awareness toward the beauty, inspiration, and joy that she embodied. We remember her wide open heart, her compassion, her warmth, her determination. We celebrate her intelligence, her smile, and her passion. And we'll have just about a minute of silence, of remembrance and honor. In the atmosphere of compassion, we're going to share a Buddhist mantra with a Sanskrit pronunciation, which is where the name Padme came from. That was the celebration of this perfect lotus heart. We'll say Om Mane Padme Hum. That is simply translated as we honor, we bow to this perfect lotus in the heart of all sentient beings. So the words are in the window for you. If you need to read them, you're welcome to sing along with us. Om Mane Padme Hum. Om Mane Padme Hum. Om Mane Padme Hum. Om Mane Padme Hum. Verily, death is a veil behind which is hidden life, which is beyond comprehension of the person of the earth. If we knew the freedom of that world and how the sad hearts are unburdened of their load, if we knew how the sick are cured, how the wounded are healed, and what freedom the soul experiences as it goes further from this earthly life of limitations, we would no more mourn those who have passed, but pray for their happiness in their further journey and for the peace of their souls. From Piro Murshid Hazrat Inayat Khan. In our Sufi understanding of life and death and the world, the passing of the life presence from the body into the unseen is celebrated as a reunion with the beloved, as a rejoining with the infinite divine presence that we came from and that we are welcomed back into with love. And there are a series of recitations that we are invited to do in the 7 weeks that are following the physical death of a beloved friend, family member, companion. And in this Sufi system of offering prayers, we recite these beautiful names of God that are our intentions and our wishes for the soul that is journeying back into the heart of God. So for this evening, I'd like to just tell you what the 7 names are for the 7 weeks following a death. And then we're going to touch into 2 of them that are the one from the week that we're just about to complete and the one for the week that we are about to begin. So each of you are welcome to visit each of these names of God in your own prayer practice, in your meditations, and offering up your own blessings and wishes for the freedom and power and beauty of the journey of our friend Padme, Lexa, Pam. So the first week after someone has left their body, the concentration is Ya Rahim, Ya Rahim. And Rahim is the second of the beautiful names of God that means mercy and compassion. And specifically, it's the active form of mercy and compassion that responds to every need, that provides the exact right medicine for the ache and the pain and the hurt and the longing in each moment. Ya Rahim. The next one that we will be working with this evening and that you're welcome to work with for the next week is Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. And Allahu Akbar is an indication that God is the power in everything, that God is the power that brings a soul into this physical incarnation and that brings a soul back out of the incarnation. Everything that happens is through the strength and the capacity of God. The next ones I'll tell you just as an introduction, but we're not going to work with them actively this evening. For the 3rd week is Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman. And Rahman is the predecessor to Rahim, that is the all-pervading mercy and compassion, that is beyond form and beyond specific expression, that is the ocean of loving kindness, that is available and omnipresent. The next one is Ya Mansur, Ya Mansur, that is an indication of mastery, of might and wisdom. The next one is Ya Jamil. Pardon me, just putting my guitar away. Ya Jamil, that is an invocation of divine beauty, God as all that we find beautiful. The next one is Ya Wadud, and Wadud is the name that means the infinitely loving, that is the constantly pouring forth energy of love, that is the nature of God. The next is Ya Malik. That is the last one, Malik. And Malik is said to be the king or the sovereign, that is the supervising and holding loving power that is taking care of everything in creation. So for this evening, we're going to visit these two beautiful names. First, Ya Rahim, and then Allahu Akbar. And I brought some extra prayer beads in case friends in our home would like to be able to hold on to them. If you have beads that can help you stay focused, you're welcome to. We're going to recite 33 of each of these, but if you're trying to count along, I invite you not to, because if I miscount, we're going with my count because I'm officiating. That doesn't mean I'm right. It just means I'm in charge. Okay, so we'll do 33 repetitions of Ya Rahim. The Ya is the syllable, the sound that we put at the front, that is the invoking, the calling forth of these qualities, inviting them into our experience awareness. Okay. So 33 times, Ya Rahim, 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 Ya Rahim. I'll take a few breaths to let this beautiful name of God settle into our own beings, into our own hearts, into our bodies, and the quality of our thoughts and our awareness. And our next recitation that we'll do 33 times also. And then you're invited to continue to carry this concentration in your own daily practice each day for the next week. I'll say Allahu Akbar 99 times. God is all the power. God is all the strength, all the capacity, all the ability that allows anything to happen. Allahu Akbar. 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 And the third practice, beautiful name that we'll visit this evening as a prayer and a blessing to our friend Lexa, Padme, Pam, includes a line from the Quran that is translated in a simple way as everything belongs to God and everything returns to God. So when we get to that phrase, I put it in the window for you so you'll be able to say it along with us. We're going to sing this one. We'll be singing Inna Lillahi wa Inna Ilayhi Raji'un. Inna Lillahi wa Inna Ilayhi Raji'un. And we'll intersperse that with Ya Salam, Ya Salam. And Ya Salam is another of the beautiful names of God that means peace. And it's the form of peace that always has been and always will be. That is the eternal nature of peace. In the Sufi understanding, peace is our nature, that peace is the truth of our beings, which is why we long for it with all that we are in this life of limitation in our incarnate existence, that we recognize our nature in that quality of peace, of contentment and stillness. And so we're constantly wishing to experience that in its fullness. So we'll be singing Inna Lillahi wa Inna Ilayhi Raji'un. Ya Salam, Ya Salam, Ya Salam. Inna Lillahi wa Inna Ilayhi Raji'un. Inna Lillahi wa Inna Ilayhi Raji'un. Ya Salam, Ya Salam, Ya Salam, Ya Salam, Ya Salam, Ya Salam. Inna Lillahi wa Inna Death takes away the weariness of life, and the soul begins life anew. Death is a sleep from which the soul wakes in the hereafter. Death is the crucifixion, after which follows the resurrection. Death is the night, after which the day begins. It is death which dies, not life. The life everlasting is hidden in the heart of death. So, beloved friends, companions, all of you who know and knew and loved and love Pam Hillyer, or Lexa Rollins, or Padme, or all of the above. This evening we get to touch into the complex heart of our humanness, that we get to remember with love and joy and gratitude and grief and sadness and surprise and remorse and this whole spectrum of our human heart experiences. And what an amazing phenomenon this human heart is, that is able to experience all of these emotions, this entire spectrum of sensation, of sorrow and joy, to such extreme extents in all directions, and sometimes many things all simultaneously that just that doesn't fit into the mind, but somehow the heart has the capacity for the whole experience. So we have the unexpected and yet beautiful opportunity this evening to be with some of Pam's family. And Pam is the name that they know her by, or Pammy. I've just heard some of them referring to her as Pammy, which I'm sure she would love. You know, one of the things that I think is tremendously important as we're honoring someone's life who is no longer in the body is that so many of the preferences that we carry through our human life, I believe, dissolve when we leave the body. That these things that somehow seem very important in our human existence, I have great faith, have a lot less significance once we are free of the body. So maybe she wouldn't care at all about anything that we are calling her right now. And I would love to invite some of her family members who are present with us to share any stories, memories, associations, feelings, and or prayers that might feel living in this moment. So I am certainly aware that we have Jerry and Laura are on one of these Zoom windows, and Vince, Judy, and Alex are in another of these Zoom windows. And I don't know if you got a hold of Pam's nephew, Cole. Do we have an update about whether Cole could be with us?
Unfortunately, Cole's still at work and won't be able to join us tonight, but thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so we'd love to hear from either Alex or Vince, if either of you would like to share anything that is in your hearts and in your awareness right now.
So thank you for this opportunity. We kind of learned about this in a happenstance way, and nothing happens without a reason. And so we're really grateful to be here. Pam is survived by 3 brothers. two of which are here tonight, Granby and myself, Vince. Granby is right next to Pam in age, and then I'm fourth down the line, and unfortunately or fortunately, we don't know her by Lexa or by Padme, but we certainly respect that and think that's great. But on behalf of the family, I just wanted to thank all of you for loving Pam and for being part of her life. The last couple of years, we have been distanced from Pam, and it's been very difficult. We love her and have always loved her. We've shared her life with her, and we will continue to share life with her. And it's just awesome to see all these people here tonight and to see your faces, to know who Pam hung out with and who Pam loved and who loved Pam. And I can assure you that both Jerry and I love Pam as well and always have. Life is difficult and things happen, and I'm not sure why they happen, but only the good Lord knows for sure. And we're very proud and honored to be her siblings. And I thought I would just end with a prayer for Pam. Heavenly Father, the realities of life are difficult, and sometimes I simply don't understand. I thank you for the blessing of Pam in our lives. I thank you for the blessing of Pam being our older sister. I regret, Lord, that she had so much angst in her life. I only wish she could feel the peace in her life as she feels right now. I am sad. We are all sad that she is gone. But I am so grateful and so blessed that she is with you now. And she is filled with love and peace that she never got to experience in her life. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for the time spent with her. Lord, Pam has taught me an important lesson, and that is to live each day the best that I can. And to strive to be the best that I can. I thank you, Lord, for all these people here tonight. I thank you for the blessing of being able to be part of this and just see these beautiful faces. I will never forget this night. I will never forget you, Pam. God bless your soul. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you, Vince. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Jerry and Laura. And in case you see this recording later, thank you, Cole. Thank you for your love and your companionship and for your constancy and care for Pam in her lifetime and beyond. The blessing is important and powerful, whether there was harmony and ease in the lifetime or not. Thank you. We're so grateful to have you with us this evening. So all the rest of us that are on this memorial gathering this evening didn't have nearly the length of experience of companionship with Pam as her beloved family. And I can share just a little bit about my own experience and awareness of Pam as she was known when she first found our Dance of Universal Peace and interfaith spiritual weirdos community. And she first encountered us by my recollection, it was 2010 that she started coming to the Dances of Universal Peace at the Clayton Learning Center. That was when Timothy was holding the dances there on every week, every Wednesday evening. And many of us were there every Wednesday evening. And it was at that time that Pam found us. It was a thriving community. There were a lot of us there every week. And she had so much joy. She just came bursting into the room with so much light and color and sensual beauty. She just came like flowing in, and she was sociable, friendly, outgoing. She wanted to talk to everybody. She was very curious about people. She would just come up to people and, "Hi, I'm Pam. Who are you? And how are you? And what do you do? How'd you find your way here? Isn't this great?" And there was so much enjoyment of the music. Oh my God, she loved the music. She was absolutely just gaga over the music and the physical embodiment. Oh, she loved being in a body. She loved to dance, and she was just into it, just everything she could get out of that body. And she worked it. Oh my gosh, she was gorgeous. And the way that she dressed, I was talking with her family members before the rest of you showed up on the Zoom, that she was always just perfectly, exquisitely dressed. That was the clothes and the hair and the makeup, and just like she just walked out of a photo shoot for a fashion magazine every single time I saw her, including when I saw her in the hospital immediately after her motorcycle accident. And she had just been in surgeries, and she was in like all of the contraptions of metal and hospital mess. Nobody looks good in a hospital, but Pam did. I tell you what, she looked good. I walked in there, I thought she was going to look like death, but she did not. She looked like she just got out of a photo shoot, even in the hospital. I was like, does she have her makeup like tattooed on her face? Maybe she did. I never asked her, but she looked amazing, even in the hospital after her motorcycle accident. So when she first showed up for the dances, she never left. She was just there all the time, and she made fast, strong friendships with many, many people in the dance community. And I am particularly, just me personally, Sarah, as her friend, as a fellow, a companion in the community, and then later as her Sufi teacher. I am particularly moved and grateful that when I first met her, she came and she told me that when she first heard my voice, that she heard me singing and it made her cry. And that just thinking about that breaks my heart with so much sweetness, that the heart resonance and the way that she was just open to experiencing the fullness of life, that anyone who can hear a voice and the voice can make them cry, not because of like some long history and it's the voice of my grandmother or something. No, it's just the heart that's open to experiencing love and beauty and goodness. So that open-heartedness is what led to her later Sufi name, Padme. So we did know her as Pam first in 2010. She was hanging out with us. She was coming to retreats with us. She was coming to women's retreats with us, and dancing with the goddess retreats when we had all of these celebratory, joyful women's retreats at Camp Santa Maria, where there would be 80 or 90 women singing and dancing and doing ritual together. And she was well loved. Everyone that has spoken with me about her talks about what they recall of her being warm and loving and enthusiastic about life and funny, that she loved to laugh and she would make jokes and she would just tease people, and so engaging and just full on livingness. That was her. I know that there were some contentions in the community because a lot of people in the interfaith Sufi community are quite liberal, earth lovers, dirt worshippers, and tree huggers. And Padme, as I mostly called her Padme, was an oil and gas girl. And she would tell us that this was her family, this was her background, this is what she did, this is her expertise, and she was damn good at it, and she held to it, and which I love about her. I love that she just knew what she was good at, what she was here to do, and she was going to do what she needed to. At the same time, when I first started having more like personal conversations with her, she talked about feeling like she was kind of done with the oil and gas industry, not because of anything bad opinions, but she just wanted to do something new. And that was when she started putting together her voice coaching business, and she was doing Toastmasters and really finding ways to weave community that was mutually supportive, that was celebrating and empowering, and that was really important to her, to be able to find ways of encouraging and celebrating other people and receiving that mutual celebration and support from others. So I knew her in doing voice coaching and putting together podcasts, which you can still find, which can be a good nostalgic exploration to be able to hear her conducting interviews and talking about her life experience and her passions and her interests. And in our Sufi community, I'm not sure how many years ago it was, maybe 7 of them or so, maybe. I'm not sure exactly, but we were holding monthly gatherings and very, very small retreats, and she was always with us. She was here in our home, and when we were in Denver, she would welcome us into her home, and she hosted our classes and our circles sometimes, and was always gracious and loved a party. She loved having people around, and at that time, she still had her two dogs, Sugar and Spice, and which I still think are the most adorable names for two dogs, Sugar and Spice. And they were unruly, I tell you what. They were all over everything. But she was just so delighted with them. I don't think that she ever had any interest in really training them or making them behave, because she just loved their personalities and their enthusiasm, and they're just up on people's laps and crawling over the furniture. But it was fun. Let's see. So in 2013, in July of 2013, was when she had that terrible motorcycle accident that really almost killed her. That I am amazed that she survived the accident itself, and that she had the determination and the tenacity and the resilience to go through the very arduous and never complete recovery from her physical body. The physical injuries were quite extensive, and that I suppose life had ways and times of being difficult before that, but in my experience of her, things did not get easy after that motorcycle accident. That she did manage to recover a whole lot of her physical strength and resilience and health and capacity, but she always struggled with the brain injury after that. That was even in my last conversation with her, which was a few months ago. It wasn't very, very recent, but a few months ago, she was still frustrated that her mind didn't work the way that it used to, and that she wished it would, and that continued to be really discouraging and exhausting and frustrating and painful. So it is good for all of us to keep in mind, I feel, for all of us to keep in mind that even with all of her unbelievable vitality and delight and joy and full-on engagement in life and relationships, that the depth and extent of that accident was just too much. And these human lives are fragile for all of us. Our physical health and abilities, our mental health and abilities that are absolutely essential for our happiness and our abilities to shape happy lives. And she worked so damn hard at it. She worked so hard at it. And I am in complete awe and admiration of the courage, the determination, the ongoing endurance that she brought to her healing journey. That was really a marvel. So with tremendous respect and appreciation, admiration for the effort. And a lot of that was about being determined to find optimism and hope. And she did. She did for 8 years of just bringing every ounce of energy that she could to continuing to focus on hope and optimism and courage to continue trying to make a happy life again. So I also want to say that in my last conversation with her, the biggest thing that she said that she was really longing for was a visceral felt experience of God. And she was lonely. She felt isolated and like people people weren't around like they used to be. And it's hard. It's hard for a community to reach out when someone is struggling so much. And it's hard for those friendships and relationships to continue on. And it was particularly striking to me that while she did express loneliness and sadness about lost relationships and lost connections in community, that the thing that she was most longing for was to feel the presence of God. And she remembered feeling the presence of God as like a tangible, visceral reality, like right in her body, in her being. And she remembered it enough that it felt like a sad memory that that wasn't true anymore, and she really wanted that back. And so she did join us a few times. We've been doing a lot of online prayers and classes, and she joined us a few times in the last year and a half. And each time that she showed up for those, it registered for me, and I believe for others in our community, as the effort toward optimism, the effort to proactively try to connect and remember and engage in the spiritual practices that could be nourishing and to bring that experience of God present again. And that is one thing that I want to encourage and impress upon each of us in this community as friends and companions on the path, that whatever our spiritual path is individually, there is tremendous hope and strength, love, comfort, and nourishment that can come through doing these things together, through sharing prayer practice, by coming together in any kind of consistent rhythm to remember our source and our nature and our goal, to remember and cultivate the relationship and the felt experience of the divine presence. That we do that in community, we do that in friendship, we do that with companions along the way. So please do not underestimate the importance, the power, and the value of sharing this path together. There are some things that I want to encourage us also as takeaways from this, that I am guessing that all of you know that Padme, Pam, Lexa, she died through her own choice, that she died by suicide, and this was not a decision that she made spontaneously or lightly, that her family members were just telling me about all of the tremendous care and attention and planning that she put into making sure that everyone knew what was important to her and how to take care of things, and that she made diligent efforts in these arrangements, which is, make no mistake, this is a tremendous, tremendous act of love. That she poured tremendous care and love into the end of her life so that others would understand what she wanted. There's so much care that she put into the last moments of her life to take care of people that are going to be tending to things after she's left her body. The consideration, the compassion, the kindness, the generosity that goes into making those arrangements is astonishing. I expect that many of us, many of you, her friends, her family, people who cared about her, who loved her, who spent time with her, as companions, as or as tusslers. Those of you who may have had arguments and disagreements with her, that undoubtedly, when someone dies by suicide, everyone who knows that person starts questioning, what could I have done? What should I have done differently? Is there anything that I or anyone could have done to make things different, to make things better? That it is the natural, universal human tendency to ask those questions. That doesn't mean that we all beat ourselves up with guilt and regret, but it does mean that we care, and that the natural arising in this circumstance is one of kindness and wishing that we could help relieve someone's suffering, wishing that we had the information, the foresight, the access, the ability, the awareness, the resource to be able to save someone. And I want to offer you my wholehearted, absolute confidence that not a single one of us could have saved her. That it is not within our power. It is not our responsibility. It is not possible. That what we can do is to look at her life with gratitude, with love, to try to take some comfort in knowing that we each did the best that we could with what we knew and with what she made available to us. We each have done and continue to do the very best we can with what we have. And that is all we can do. Then we can offer our prayers. We can ask for her soul to be at peace. We can ask for her soul to be happy in its return to the source of love. And instead of pouring our energy and attention into guilt and regret, we can find some simple, realistic, pragmatic ways that we can dedicate ourselves to living our highest ideals. That we can take this moment to set our intentions to be a good friend. To recognize the importance of our human relationships. To be proactive about expressing our love to one another. One of the big things that I have been feeling recently, not just about Padme, Pam, Lexa, but about others, is that we have an opportunity in our compassionate humanness to cultivate a default mode of yes. To deliberately set an intention to pay attention to what is asked of us, and to have the automatic answer, the automatic response be yes. Yes, I will show up for this. Yes, I am available for this. To anticipate and try to hear the needs and requests that come to us so that we are ready to respond with yes. All of our lives are bound to include losses, injury, pain, death, loneliness, misunderstandings. And I invite all of us to cultivate a strong and resilient spirit that is rooted in equanimity, so that we can keep our balance when there is suffering. And the Sufi path in particular is the path of wisdom, that is, the path of understanding, the path of shining the intelligent light of the divine into ourselves and into the world around us, to try to understand things from the highest possible perspective so that we can respond with wisdom. It is also a path of surrender, a path of acceptance, a path of softening the heart, softening the ego, softening the attachments and the clinging, so that we can feel more peace and more ease with the changing nature of life. I am often reminded about the word healing that was a big focus in Padme's life for the last 8 years. Healing, healing, healing. And the root of the word healing means to bring into wholeness, into completion. And in this moment, it feels important to remember that death itself is also a healing. That death itself is the completion where the soul returns to God. With the death of the body is the freedom of the soul. With the death of the body is the freedom of the soul. So I want to offer a few more beautiful names of God as perspective and potentially useful practice for any of you, whether you are officially on a Sufi path or not. But Padme chose a Sufi path. She chose a universalist path of spiritual liberty that celebrates all of the faith traditions, all of the ways that we can relate to, connect with, and cultivate an experience of God with each breath and each moment. So in the beginning, in the set of 99 beautiful names of God, there is an introduction that is before the 99. We start with Bismillah, which is where we started our singing this evening. That is, we begin with the name of the divine. And then we go to Allah, that is the all-encompassing, all-pervading, ever-present God. And then the first of the beautiful names of God, number 1, is Ar-Rahman. I spoke a little bit about Ar-Rahman earlier. And in this moment, as we are remembering and offering our prayers for Padme and for the freedom of her soul, it is good to remember that this is the starting point and that everything comes from this omnipresent God, blossoms into existence and then comes circling back into the arms of that infinite God again. The very first quality that we can recognize about God is Rahman, that is mercy and compassion as the all-pervading. It has never been anything else. God has never been anything but love and kindness. And then, number 2, the next of the beautiful names of God is Ar-Rahim. This is also mercy and compassion, but it is in every specific form and definition that we could ever identify. Whatever form of love and kindness is needed, that is God. It is God's activity. Now it's not just the all-pervading God. It's not just the nature of God. It's the action of God. Ar-Rahim. The next one is Al-Malik. And Al-Malik is the king or the sovereign. That now we take all of the mercy and compassion in all of the possible forms, and we recognize that there's a responsibility, that there is a power and a capacity to offer what we can as a blessing into existence. That begins to be about the burdens and the duties of life itself. That's actually getting to work in the world. And from Malik, we go to Al-Quddus, that is the holy, that is the sacred, the holy presence. So with each responsibility, with all of our work that we do in the world, we cultivate the atmosphere of sacredness and we bless everything around us. This is what Padme was doing with her life too, trying to find ways to be of benefit, to be helpful, to be an agent of compassion and of strength. The next and the last of the beautiful names that I'll talk about right now is Salam, that is peace, As-Salam, that we sang as a blessing, and this is the most useful of the blessings after someone has died, where we offer this ongoing intention and wish for peace. So one of the things that I brought for this evening, I'm gonna scoot you around to this other side of the altar. I might need to move you a little closer. So I have this basin. This is a beautiful ceramic dish. You can't see into it because I have the camera angled differently, but it's filled with water. And this is symbolic of the ocean of God. And I also have, right next to it, a cup that is also a ceramic vessel that says Padme on it. And this one is also filled with water that you can't see because it's dark, but there it is. And we're gonna sing a chant to the goddess that I remember Padme particularly loving from the Dances of Universal Peace. And there are some spiritual teachings, scriptures in Hinduism in particular that recognize that each soul is a drop of God from the ocean of God. And so this cup is symbolizing the life essence that is and was Pam Hillyer, Lexa Rollins, Padme. And we're going to pour this back into the ocean of God as we sing this chant. So I'll put the words in the chat window for you. There are 3 different chants that we can, well, there are infinite chants that we could weave in here, but sorry, my muscle memory can't grab the words without like I can't remember the keystrokes to copy and paste from the side of the keyboard. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'll sing We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. And we can also weave in there a bunch of beautiful names for the goddess, the divine feminine: Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, Kali, Inanna. And then we can also chant, she changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, Kali, Inanna. Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, Kali, Inanna. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Isis, Astarte, Diana, Hecate, Demeter, Kali, Inanna. 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 She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. She changes everything she touches, and everything she touches changes. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. We all come from the goddess, and to her we shall return like a drop of rain flowing to the ocean. Let's come back to the invocation of Piro Murshid Inayat Khan. It's in the window for you if you need it again. Toward the one, the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the only being, united with all the illuminated souls who form the embodiment of the Master, the Spirit of guidance. O Thou, the cause and effect of the whole universe, the source from whence we have come, and the goal towards which all are bound. Receive this soul who is coming to Thee into Thy parental arms. May Thy forgiving glance heal her heart. Lift her from the denseness of the earth. Surround her with the light of thine own spirit. Raise her up to heaven, which is her true dwelling place. We pray thee, grant her the blessing of thy most exalted presence. May her life on earth become as a dream to her waking soul, and let her thirsting eyes behold the glorious vision of thy sunshine. Amen. So we have a couple of more things, including lighting some incense so that it can carry our prayers for Pam, Lexa, Padme. Here are words for another song we're going to sing. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. And there's also an Arabic line, Ishq Allah, Mabud Allah, which is God is the love and God is the beloved. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Ishq Allah ma'bud Allah, Ishq Allah ma'bud Allah, Ishq Allah ma'bud Allah, Ishq Allah ma'bud Allah. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Ishq Allah ma'bud Allah, Ishq Allah ma'bud Allah, Ishq Allah ma'bud Allah, Ishq Allah ma'bud Allah. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Ishq Allah ma'bud Allah, Ishq Allah ma'bud Allah, Ishq Allah ma'bud Allah, Ishq Allah ma'bud Allah. All I ask of you is forever to remember me as loving you. Heal her spirit, Lord, from all the wounds that her heart suffered through this life of limitation upon the earth. Purify her heart with thy divine light, and send upon her spirit thy mercy, thy compassion, and thy peace. Amen. O thou who art the perfection of love, harmony, and beauty, the Lord of heaven and earth, open our hearts that we may hear thy voice, which constantly cometh from within. Disclose to us thy divine light, which is hidden in our souls, that we may know and understand life better. Most merciful and compassionate God, give us thy great goodness. Teach us thy loving forgiveness. Raise us above the distinctions and differences which divide. Send us the peace of thy divine Spirit, and unite us all in thy perfect being. Amen. May the blessings of God rest upon you. May God's peace abide with you. May God's presence illuminate your hearts now and forever.